Hello my little learners, you can call me Lovegood, and welcome to the Podfic's Baton Pass for Shutterbug by Iriley. The way this works is that I'm reading chapter 36, Evie is Evil read the previous chapter, and Mouse Satan will be reading the next chapter, passing along who will be reading Shutterbug until the Podfic is finished. The full playlist and the link to this fic are both on my latest post, so please go and check that out. Now, on to the chapter. Setting down the paperwork, Peter looks out at his new office. He had just talked to the security officer about the procedures in place. The top 3 floors are for Peter alone. He also is the only one with the clearance to grant others access. There were 17 floors to this building. The 13th had been filled out due to the superstition one people in Gotham hold in high regard. The ground floor is a reception area. The next 3 are office areas. Above those are the 3 labs, each focus having their own 3 floors, one for research, experiments and testing. The top 3 floors are solely for Peter, one to test and run experiments as well as research, another to test them, and the top being his office. He will be adding some more comfortable sitting and a room for training later on, but he doesn't think this world needs a Stark Tower. Looking out of his new office window, Peter sees the cars driving by his building. It's weird to have, but he supposed there were worse ways to spend the money. Peter glances at his new desk and the papers on top. He'd have to interview a lot of people. Sighing, he sits down and gets to work. His goal? Hire people to work for him and start getting the required and necessary tools. In an interview 2 days later. There has to be a catch. Peter tilts his head a bit. A catch? The man in front of him nods with a small glare. A kid like you running a business isn't anything new round here. Not with Brucey all but inheriting the city, then the Drake kid taking over for his parents. But a new startup having benefits this good, you have to be a front for some shit. Peter shakes his head with a sigh. This was the 5th time people had said something like this. I can assure you it's not a front. I just want to interview you for the security position. I've already talked to my team of researchers. None of them have any interest in world domination or anything like that. Peter says it like a joke, but many of his interviews with his scientists started with a very desperate plea of, I can promise you I'm not going to become a supervillain. Truth be told, Peter didn't think they could even if they wanted to. Not in a bad way, of course. They'd shook at the mere thought of Batman coming after them, and the fact they had lives they were happy with. Apparently, it's hard to get a job as a researcher/scientist in Gotham, mostly due to an oddly high transition from doctorate to rogue. The man across from him seems to think about this before nodding. But it's probably the best I'm going to get. Where do I sign? Peter slides the man the paperwork and shakes his hand. Only 14 more for security. Later that week. Peter's head hits the desk in front of him with a loud thud. After a full week, Peter has all his bases covered. He had hired a majority of those who applied and had got to see about hiring people from rougher areas. Sometime during the week, he had also gotten in touch with his realtor to find an apartment building nearby that he could make deal with. Low rent and fees for his workers, but a lot of tenants. The deal had gone well, and he was able to move in a couple of employees immediately, some with their families, which Peter had upped the security measures in the building. The owner was thrilled. More followed through the next week. He had thankfully hired a good amount of managers and head scientists to lead their respective departments. Peter made sure to check on them regularly, so he could get to know them all though. He'd also forgotten to give Wade and Matt a key card for his floors, though, and Wade had gotten restrained by his new head of security, the same that thought he was a front. It's okay, Max. He's a friend of mine. Hadn't gotten around to making him a keycard yet. The large man, who had Wade scuffed by the back of his neck, eyes him before setting him down. Thank you. How dare you? Peter smacks the back of Wade's head when he starts to cause a problem. Don't start, please. Wade doesn't say much more but sticks his tongue out from under his face mask. Back to the now. Peter turns his head to look out the window. He wanted to test his new gadget. He shakes his head. He shouldn't go out as much during the day. His phone rings, making his head pop back up as he picks it up. Mr. Parker, there's someone here to see you. Did they give their name? He can hear the receptionist swallow. It's Mr. Wayne. Peter blinks, but snaps out of it. Right, give me a moment. He wakes his desktop computer up and quickly makes a temporary high access card, allowing only the top floor, before speaking into the phone again. I just sent you the access. Go ahead and put it on a guest card and send them up to my office. He gets an okay before she hangs up and he squeezes in, and I told you, just call me Peter. He can hear her sigh and hang up the phone. What could Bruce want? With Bruce. Taking the keycard and sending the receptionist a smile, Bruce walks towards the elevator. The low floors and the top floors are lit up. The lady, Stacy, had told him to head up to the top floor. Pushing the button, Bruce looks down at the card swipe once it blinks at him. Swiping the card, the elevator starts to move up. Seems like I only have access to the top and the lower floors. Interesting. Stepping off the elevator, Bruce walks towards a door that leads to a large room. A few boxes are scattered around, some open, and there are a few doors along the wall. One of the doors opens, and Peter steps out. Sorry about the mess, still unpacking. He holds the door open for Bruce as he makes his way over. I know that struggle all too well. Bruce chuckles, and Peter sends him a smile. Peter sits down behind his desk and offers him a seat, which he takes. He's got it down to a science. Bruce can't help but smile at Peter's surprising confidence. What can I do for you, Mr. Wayne? Peter asks. Holding out a hand, Bruce starts. No need to be so formal, Peter. This isn't a business meeting. Peter smiles and sits back a bit. Gotcha. So, what brings you by? My PR team told me there was a new contender on the field and said I should stop by. Didn't realize you were in charge until I was on my way. You could have called me. I would have been more than happy to help you with the process. Translation. Why didn't you call? I could have helped you. Peter smiles. I appreciate the visit, and I would have been happy to have your help, but unfortunately I lost my phone and haven't had the time to get a new one yet. Translation. I don't have my phone right now, so I couldn't have called you even if I wanted to. Nodding, Bruce holds back a smile. He's quick on the uptake. I see. Feel free to call or stop by my office if you ever need help. My door's always open. Translation. Let me help you. Peter nods. His smile doesn't falter. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind, though I think I have it covered. Translation. No. Before Bruce can say anything else, Peter's office phone starts to ring. Bruce tells him to take it when the boy gives him a questioning look. Hello? Bruce can faintly hear the other line, but only picks up bits and pieces. With Peter. Sorry to bother you while you're in a meeting, but you have a guest here to see you? Thinking, Peter asks who. It's Lex Luthor, sir. She sounds a bit worried, and Peter soon finds out why. I told him you were in a meeting, and he stormed into the elevator, got on before the security guards could stop him. Where is he now? Peter stands up, and Bruce follows suit. On the top researcher room. Security is on their way up now. Peter has to hold back a sigh. Got it. I'm on my way down. He hangs up the phone before starting his way to the elevator. Bruce follows after him. Sorry, seems like we have an unwelcome guest who strong-armed his way in. Bruce nods. Not to worry, I was going to ask for a tour anyway. Peter gives a half smile to the joke and steps into the elevator once the doors open. I didn't realize there was another elevator. Peter nods. I had them add a personal one for emergencies that needed me. I have another one for the security team. It takes a certain keycard. Swiping said keycard, they start the descent down to the highest testing lab. Peter can hear the shouts before the door opens. Get your hands off me! Who do you think is paying for all this? That would be me. Peter watches as Lex's head snaps towards him as he steps off the elevator. Bruce steps off after him. You! Peter watches as the head of security, Max, grabs the man by the arm. Don't touch me, you imbecile. Don't you know who I am? Max raises an eyebrow. Not really. And quite frankly, I don't give a damn. Lex tries to yank his arm out of Max's grip, but doesn't quite have the strength. Peter holds up his hand, and Max reluctantly lets the man's arm go. What can I do for you, Luthor? The man snaps his head to look at him, and Peter is pretty sure the man's face gets redder. You think you can take my money and build business? Peter does pinch the bridge of his nose this time, if only to piss Lex off more. I'll have you know, Mr. Luthor, that I purchased this building and all of the equipment with my own money. Came from my bank account after all. Peter didn't think Lex's face could get any redder, but he was proven wrong. Lex opens his mouth to say something, but Peter cuts him off. Now, if you're done here, my team would like to get back to their work. Lex looks over to the scientists, who are off to the far wall, not wanting to be in the way. On the table between them is a new project they've been working on over the week, a chemical to safely break down hard plastics without doing any damage to the environment. What, this little thing? Hardly anything worth studying, I'm sure. He picks up one of the test tubes and shakes it. I wouldn't do that. It's still in the early testing stages, and I can't promise it's harmless to humans. He scoffs and tosses the vial towards the plastic wall in the center of the room. The glass tube shatters and the liquid splashes against the wall. It starts to bubble, and soon the wall starts to give way in the middle. Peter can see Lex's face pale. I see the erosion effects are working. Make sure no one touches the residue. Treat it like a biohazard. The head researcher nods and clears the room, a few coming back in special hazmats to clean the chemicals up. Now, I think you've overstayed your non-existent welcome. Max, if you could be so kind to escort Mr. Luther out of the building. Max gives a smirk and starts to drag a steel pale Lex towards the elevator when he snaps out of it. I will be in touch with my lawyers about this. That could have killed me. Peter blinks. I have video evidence of you charging in here and of me telling you that you shouldn't touch it because it hadn't been tested yet. Then of you throwing it at the wall anyway, which could have sent glass or chemicals at my employees. I might just have to get back in touch with my lawyer. I'm sure she'd love to talk to yours again. He glares and opens his mouth, but Bruce cuts in before he can get a word out. I'd be happy to testify to that, Mr. Parker. Bruce sends a smile to Lex, and the man looks ready to snap. Max continues to drag Lex out. Turning to his crew, Peter asks if they are all okay. Yes, sir. Just got a bit startled when he stormed in. His head researcher, Anthony, says. The others nod behind him, those in hazmats giving a thumbs up. Peter sends him a smile and turns back to Bruce. Sorry about that. I appreciate the help. Bruce gives a smile back. Happy to help. They make their way towards the main elevator. I'll have to give you the tour some other time. Bruce nods after a moment. Till next time. He steps into the elevator and starts to head down. Peter turns and moves towards his own. Now he just has to document this and make a copy of the footage and audio so his lawyer can have it on file, just in case. Peter sighs. All I want to do is test my new web wings. He looks up. Bruce's sudden visit did remind him. He's been so busy setting things up here and going out at night. Not to mention trying to recreate his favourite AI. He hadn't talked to anyone but Wade and Matt. When was the last time I talked to Jason? Alrighty, my little learners, that's the end of this one. Again, the full playlist and the link to this fic are both in my latest post, so please go and check that out. Bye, little learners.